Oh, it's a great day. Oh, yes. Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. What's cracked a lacking? It's pretty good. It is a great day for America, everybody. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Because this has nothing to do with Craig Ferguson, but I do the thing. We are going to talk about, finally, on this channel, Pokemon. Yes. This is something I've been trying to do for years. I was going to do it, like, as a regular review thing. There are a bajillion of these movies, so no, I'm not going to do all of them, because there's upwards of 20 by now. I'm sure Big LT would know. I am doing the first 6, which to me are Pokemon the first movie, Pokemon movie 2000, Pokemon 3, Pokemon Mewtwo Returns, Pokemon Forever, and Pokemon Heroes. Yes, I count Pokemon Mewtwo Returns as a Pokemon movie. It was like a 10th anniversary special or some shit like that. I don't care. I had the VHS tapes of those first 4 growing up. I treated that as the 4th movie. I watched all 4 of those back to back. That was the 4th movie for me. So I count it. I know it's a special. Hell, it doesn't even have its own damn Wikipedia page. But of course, I was big into Pokemon back in the day. I think it came to America in 97. Which I always find... I always thought 97 was an uneventful year. You know. But, lo and behold... we have Pokemon coming out that year, and I was 10, the same year as Ash. So, just so you know, Ash should be 37 years old right now. But he was 10 years old for 27 years. So, what do I know? Yeah. So I was 10. And let's not forget, he's walking around with Brock and Misty, who were gym leaders, and thus it's a 10-year-old walking around with 2 grown adults. Not creepy at all. Anyway, you guys all know the story of Pokemon, right? 10-year-old Ash wants to be the very best, like no one ever was. So you gotta catch them all, even though no one ever catches them all. But someone that has their own thing, especially the gym leaders, where they have specific things. Like Misty has basically water Pokemon, except for Togepi, and Brock is supposed to be the rock ground Pokemon guy, but he also has a Vulpix, which is fire. You know. And later, does he have a... No, that's Terry. Scyther. He gets a Cacnea, doesn't he? That's a grass type Pokemon, I think. That's later. And the reason, not just because there's so many of them, this really encapsulates my time with Pokemon. Sure, I watched Pokemon a little bit after this. When they introduced, what's his name, Max and May, around that time, I kind of got out of watching it. I don't know why. It just, I wasn't particularly fond of the Orange Islands because Brock was gone, but I watched what I could. Johto was my jam. Yes, sir. Johto came on. I watched the hell out of that. Brock was back, and we were in a new region. Like a brand new region. Orange Islands was a new region, but that was still technically Gen 1, even though there was a few others thrown in. Like this movie... Not the movie, but there was a short on the VHS, Pikachu's Vacation, that introduced 2 new Pokemon from Generation 2 that I wasn't officially Generation 2 yet. Meryl and Schnabel. Yes. And Togepi would end up being part of Generation 2 as well. And that's the Johto region, where the Orange Islands was an extension of the Indigo League, I guess, or the first Pokemon area. It wasn't until we got to Johto that we got to Generation 2. But the story here is that there is this ancient Pokemon known as Mew, and these scientists have found its DNA. Of course, in the version that's on the Blu-ray, they don't show that. They just tell you about it. Because on the VHS version, the home release version, they had a special prologue that showed them on an expedition to get this DNA. But on the Blu-ray, they already have the tablet at the lab, and he's already created, and yeah. Also, I don't remember this being in the... According to Wikipedia, a lot of times they go from the Japanese version. I don't remember this ever being a thing, even with the extended opening, that Giovanni wants to use Mew, create the clone of Mew to help save his daughter. That's what it says on Wikipedia. If I'm wrong, dude, blame Wikipedia. I don't remember that ever being a case in the American version. I never watched the Japanese version. You know, this is the 75-minute American version without the opening that shows how they find Mew. Mew's DNA, I should say. Not actually Mew. He's flying around and Mew, Mew. But yeah. And Mewtwo, he destroys shit twice. He breaks free of this island, or this lab, killing everybody, basically. He's found by Giovanni, and I'm standing here listening. And I go, I know that voice. I know that voice. That is Bakura's voice from Yu-Gi-Oh! And sure enough, it was. Although he's going by a different name or here, and than he is. I don't know. But it is him. Yes, he was also Jack Atlas in Yu-Gi-Oh! Fighties. The Australian guy. Jack Atlas. I don't know. But Giovanni convinces him to come work for him, with him, whatever, in the new lab. And he puts this special gear on him. I remember seeing the trailer and thinking, whoa, cool armor. And no, it's not a cool armor. It's just... It actually dampens his powers. But he breaks free of that, destroys the island. Doesn't kill Giovanni because Giovanni gets away. But I don't remember if we see his face. I don't know if at this point they're still hiding his face or not. But then Mewtwo says that the humans have mistreated him, so it's time for revenge. And then we get the title card. And then we meet up with our team of the 10-year-old and 2 adults. Ash, Brock, Misty, and the Pokemon Pikachu and Togepi, which I had little toys of both. The little switch on the back that could talk. Pika, Pri. I still have the Bulbasaur toy somewhere. I still have some. I don't know where the hell I keep putting that thing, but I have that. I had a Mewtwo. It was the same as the it's like a plastic thing. Yeah, I had Mewtwo. I had a Charizard, of course, my favorite. What else did I have? I remember the Burger King stuff. That might have been for the second one, but it was something like it was a standee with you put a card in it. That might have been the second one. I don't remember. But I remember that. I don't know. That might have been the second one because I think I remember the 3 legendary birds was one of the. I don't remember. But that was in the next one. So they are on their journey. They stop for lunch because Brock is a triple threat. He's a Pokemon trainer. He's a womanizer and he's a chef. So he made the food. And then this guy shows up and says, hey, I want to face Ash Ketchum. So I've never clarified this. I don't know. Was he sent by Mewtwo so that Mewtwo could test Ash to make sure he was worthy? Because they never outright say it. But that's what it looks like. And we get our third new Pokemon, Donphan. Yes, the rolling elephant armadillo thingy-mabobber. Yes. That's the third new and last Pokemon that's in this. So Yeah. So here we get the first taste of the soundtrack with the newly recorded version of the theme song, I Wanna Be the Very Best, like no one ever was. Yes. I had the soundtrack, and let me tell you, watching this movie, they do not do justice to this soundtrack. They do not. They have, in the main movie itself, before the credits, there are a total of 2 songs. And then they jam a bunch of them in the credits. Yeah. Including Don't Say You Love Me, which was promoted as the, by M2M, which was promoted as the song of the movie. They had a music video and everything. I think it was on the VHS they had the music video. They promoted the music video everywhere, promoted the song, and it has one little blurb at the end of the goddamn credits. They play the chorus before the credits end. Yeah. When Digimon does the soundtrack more justice than this one. And I had the soundtrack. I listened to it all the time. You had the Pokemon theme. You had Don't Say You Love Me. You had the brother, my brother. You had a song by 90 Degrees and NSYNC. Britney Spears was on there. I listened to that thing all the time, sitting there on the computer listening. I love that CD. It was yellow. The yellow CD. That's why the Digimon soundtrack. Well, I'm going to talk about the Digimon movie later. Anyway, so they get an invitation with a hologram lady who looks familiar, but they can't quite put their finger on it. Of course, Brock has to say, she looks cute. Thank you, Brock. Thank you very much. Thank you. Just thank you. You know, I feel like if Brock was a real person, he'd be in jail right now. I'm just saying. Not only for walking around with a 10-year-old for 20 years, but I'm going to keep bringing that up because the more you think about it, they have to be adults if they were gym leaders. I'm just saying. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're teenagers. I could buy that with Misty. She's like 15. Maybe 16. Brock is a grown-ass man hitting on grown-ass women. You can't change my mind on that. Okay? Anyway, so they go to this Pokemon Center, and lo and behold, there is a big, terrible storm brewing. But there are other Pokemon trainers there who decide they're going to, brave the storm. So our guys say they are going to too. And by the way, while they're there, they notice there's a Nurse Jenny. Is it Nurse Jenny? Nurse Joy. It's Officer Jenny. She's there saying, you cannot go there, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, you cannot do that. But there's a Nurse Joy. And that's the one weird thing. No matter where they go in this world, in every single town, there is a Nurse Joy and Officer Jenny. They are not the same people, but they're in every town. I don't know why. I don't question it. My head would hurt too much. Anyway, yes, Brock hits on all of them. So they decide they're going to brave the storm, but Misty says, our Pokemon aren't strong enough. Let's see. Brock, Pikachu, and Ash could ride on the back of Charizard if he would listen, and Misty later proves she could use her Staryu, to go through the thing. The sea. Just saying. I don't think does she have a dugong? Or no. She has a Goldeen. I don't know if that's big enough. The Horsey. Seadra? She does eventually get a Seadra, but not yet. I don't know. I don't think she has anything big enough to carry her. But hell, they could all fly on top of Charizard if he was willing. But no. Who shows up but 2 Vikings and a Viking cat? That's right. It's Jesse. It's James. It's Team Rocket. Prepare for trouble. And Meowth, of course. That's right. Yes, and they are Vikings with Swedish accents because they don't know what Scandinavian accents are, apparently. They talk like this, which is Swedish. This is not a Scandinavian accent. This is Swedish. And then we get a Vikings joke. We get a Minnesota joke. They're like, I didn't know Vikings still exist. And Ash says, I thought they were mostly in Minnesota. Which, by the way, they redid this movie with all CGI later, called Pokemon Mewtwo Strikes Back, Pokemon the first movie, whatever, something or other. It was a new one, and they took out that joke. Which, yeah, I could see that. I personally, being from Minnesota, I'm not offended by that, but you know, why are they talking with a Swedish accent? But eventually, they found out that they are Team Rocket. The whole boat gets destroyed, and so they have to sort of brave the rest of the way in the water. And Jesse and James end up on the island anyway, but in a different part of it. They're brought in by this woman who turns out to be the Nurse Joy that went missing, and she's been brainwashed. Yes, and there's only 3 other trainers there, I think, and or 2 other trainers. Two other trainers, because there's a total of 3 fighting later. So they're all confused and wondering what the hell is going on when Mewtwo reveals himself, and they're like, "Hey, it's a Pokemon. He can't do that anymore." They're reminded that he shouldn't exist. And they're like, "Mewtwo? Oh." And he demonstrates that he has clones of the 3 main Pokemon somehow. I'm assuming that the Dragonite got some DNA when they were fighting or something to clone them. He has a clone of Charizard. What's name? Shellshocker, who is the Blastoise, and whatever the Venusaur is called. And so they decide they're going to fight these clones by using the same Pokemon. That's not how Pokemon fighting works, though. And of course, nothing works. These clones overpower them. But I'm sitting here going, okay, so go by weaknesses here. Charizard should have fought the clone Venusaur, because grass is weak to fire. Blastoise, or Shellshocker, should have fought the clone Charizard, because fire is weak to water. And Pikachu should have fought the clone Blastoise, because water is weak to electric. That's basic Pokemon right there. But no, they have to all fight each other, and that doesn't work. So he captures all the Pokemons, including the ones that are in the Pokeballs, because he puts them back in. Charizard, of course, if you remember, doesn't listen to Ash because they stated that because his Charmander evolved into Charizard too quickly, he was incontrollable. Eventually, they do get some self-respect for each other, but it's a running gag that he never listens. He does sort of listen here, but yeah. But they try to take Pikachu, and Ash latches on and ends up in the back where Team Rocket has been this whole time. At one point, during the stuff where there's a talking, they're back there, and Meowth's hairs get plucked, and they make a clone, and a silhouette pops up on the screen. And because this is a movie, and they don't go to commercials, they had to be working in somewhere, they go, "Who's that Pokemon? It's Meowth." No shit. What else? Nah. And I have one complaint. The clone Meowth doesn't talk. Like, the Team Rocket Meowth is notorious for talking with human speak. The only one that can do it besides Mewtwo, but he's psychic. And various other legendary Pokemon, I guess, too. But, like, the clone Meowth goes, meow, 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 meow. And I'm just like, I get that it's supposed to be Meowth. It's a clone. But it's a clone of Meowth that can speak English. So, why can't it? It's just a little nitpick thing, you know. But, yeah, Ash blows up the fucking lab and brings the regular Pokemon back out, and we have a fight, and we get brother, my brother, tell me what are we fighting for? We've got to win this war. We should love one another. Yes. Well, and it's very profound as Ash stands on this big hill thing in the middle of the thing and watches everyone fight. And Mewtwo has suppressed everyone's powers, so they're just scratching and clawing at each other because that's easier to animate. You're not convincing me that's not the reason why. They're just like, oh, we can't have them do all their special moves. Just have them fight each other. It's easier to animate that way. Even the furthest they go with Mewtwo and Mew is they get little glows of blue or purple and pink or blue and pink, whatever it is. But yeah, and Ash doesn't like this. Eventually, it is the clone Meowth that tells the real Meowth, hey, we have to have it be this because we have to have Meowth say it so we can hear it. Yeah, the Team Rocket Meowth. That's right, we shouldn't be fighting each other. And then Pikachu outright says, no, I'm not fighting, and there's no fight, and everyone starts to put their hands down. But, unfortunately, Ash gets caught in the crossfire and fucking dies. I'm serious, he's dead. He dies, he's dead. But how does he come back to life? The old cliche of magic tears. Yes, that's right. Not only Pikachu, but the magic tears of Pokemon, which was foreshadowed earlier in the movie, and I'm serious, brings Ash back to life. Yep. And then Mewtwo decides, oh, maybe we shouldn't fight, we should live together. So he and Mew take off with all the clones, and he erases everyone's memories and returns everyone back to that Pokemon Center, except for Team Rocket, who are just stuck on that island with their memories erased. To be fair, they weren't in there, so he probably didn't even know they were there. But he's psychic. He's psychic, so he probably did know they were there, and is like, fuck it, I'm not bringing them back. I don't know. And they don't remember anything. But the Nurse Joy is there, and everything is fine. No one even remembers that Nurse Joy was missing. I just thought of that. But, now they're going to continue on their quest to be the very best like no one ever was. And then we get 4 or 5 songs in the credits mashed together. Because we have a soundtrack, damn it. I even looked at the soundtrack. Excuse me. Maybe half of the songs aren't in the movie. There are 2 that were in the short. Vacations where I wanna be. And whoa, come and try to catch me. Whoa, catch me if you can. They're in the short at the beginning, but everything else, like half the other music, was on the because it's not just Pokemon the movie music from the movie. No, it's music from and inspired by the movie. Please don't tell me I'm getting a cold. I don't need that right now. I got so much other stuff going on right now that a cold is not what I need. But yeah, that's how it ends. It's 75 minutes. It's not that long. But I was absolutely goo gaga for this movie back when it came out. Like I said, I had the VHS tape. I had the first 4, technically, if you count this. I had the first 4 of those on VHS. My brother, I got this. This was one of my brothers, and I don't even know if it'll work. And then I think he had this one, but it wasn't with the rest of them when I went to look. So I had, or maybe I already had this. I bought it in the Walmart bin, so that's why I didn't grab it. But yeah. So next. I gotta give the score. Pretty good. I give very high, pretty good. It's not perfect, but if they'd utilize the soundtrack more, because I am astonished watching this, how much better at incorporating the soundtrack Digimon the movie did than this one. I'm just shocked. So, Had I incorporated the soundtrack more, it probably would be 8 to the Moon, but you know. So, what are your thoughts on Pokemon, the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.